What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Sunday Reset here on Forward Progress, presented by Fanduel. I'm Rob Pizzola. You guys know the drill, but a little bit different today because we're getting an earlier start than normal for the show. Packers, Cowboys about to start overtime. We're on the East Coast here, so didn't want to get this started at midnight and too many people not be able to join. For those of you listening after the fact, we're trying very, very hard not to get distracted by it, and we'll try to focus on the task at hand here tonight. It's the same show as usual. We're zooming out on today, separating that signal from the noise, call it the surprises, what we nailed, what we missed, key coaching calls, injuries that shaped this week in the NFL. Then we're going to flip it forward. We'll run through week 5, our thoughts on each game. We'll talk about where we expect the market to go. Again, normally we do this after Sunday Night Football, but tonight it's a little bit different. If you're watching live, smash that like button so more people find this. More people means we can do this for a lot longer. Subscribe, turn on notifications, all that stuff. If you're listening to the replay after the fact and you like what you hear, please rate and review 5 stars. All right, let's get into it. As always, joining me is my good friend, Clive Bixby. Clive, how are things?
I got brutalized today, man.
You got brutalized today?
I did.
Okay.
Brutalized is strong, but just 2 bad weeks in a row.
I had a very good week,
Good.
but I'm very fixated on a couple games that didn't go my way, as is the case, I guess, is a better all the time. Particularly the Raiders-Bears game, which I got to tell you, I said in the offseason when I was talking about the Raiders, I'm like, you guys, you got to remember, their head coach last year was Antonio Pierce. They've upgraded. Like, you could bring in anyone on the planet, and they've upgraded at head coach. And I don't know that they actually have, because watching that game, I mean, granted, Geno played horribly today, but some of these end game scenarios make me want to pull my hair out.
Oh, I mean, biggest pet peeve in the world, I think, for me lately is just these settling for long, long field goals. And not even in that case, just settling for a long field goal, not even understanding the situation with the other team and their timeouts at the time that was left on the clock. Like, what are we doing? Like, how can you possibly be so absent-minded to think that that was it? And with the kickoff rules and where new field position ends up being, like, just wildly dumb.
It feels like in the early going of this season, special teams has played a bigger factor than I can remember. And in weird ways as well. Like, if you think of, 2 teams that I thought were really good in special teams department coming into this week would be like based off kickoff data, right? Rams and Panthers had been pinning opponents back. So you might think, oh, maybe the Panthers have a special teams edge in the game against New England. Well, New England takes like a punt return back for a touchdown. There was another punt return into the red zone in that game.
Yep.
It's like I special teams are part of the game, don't get me wrong, but it almost feels like there's an element of randomness with what's going on with block kicks, missed kicks. I don't know. I just feel I can't help but feel so far through 1 month, special teams has played a bigger factor.
Yeah, super, super disruptive. I mean, the first punt of the game in the Eagles-Bucks game, Eagles block it and take that back for a touchdown immediately. There's been a lot of that kind of stuff. And then you have some boneheaded shit in like the Colts game where somebody's fumbling through the end zone because he's getting ready to celebrate. Like, just what the fuck is going on this year?
See, I believe you had the early over in that game. I think
No,
okay.
that was no 2 unders from last week, which we'll go over. But
Got it. No,
yeah.
I was wondering because we did talk about the game last week. I don't remember, but I ended up playing under 50 in that game. And I went through like this big range of emotions because I felt like this is a really good play at one point. Then I get really lucky with the A.D. Mitchell fumble out the back of the end zone, ultimately cashed it. I'll remember that one at the end of the year. That worked in my favor. Although I did play him anytime touchdown, and I lost that on that same play. So it was like really like a very wide range of emotions for that game. But that's like the second game in a row we've seen with the Rams that's kind of come down to the wire and had some weird ending where you just didn't expect. The spread has swung very late in the game.
And twice been on the wrong side of that for contests.
Yeah, I know. My God. CMR 586 in the chat. I think this was right before we came on air. Remember 2 weeks ago when the Packers were the greatest team on earth, except for maybe the Ravens? And it's funny because like this is why I love the NFL. Like watching stuff just reinforces that in any given week, crazy shit can happen. You know, Browns beat the Packers last week. Packers are in overtime with the Cowboys now. You see the Saints give a scare to the Bills today. The Giants, Jackson Dart's first start, they beat the Chargers. Like it's, you know, no team is going to play at their median or their average for the entire year. You're going to have like these drastic spikes up and down. And I think for us, it's just about like filtering through what's real and what's not when you're looking at this stuff.
Well, yeah, and the name and the jersey is obviously important too, of who's in the game and who's playing in terms of, you know, like Ravens are just fucking destroyed by injuries right now. And just they're not the same team that they were in the beginning of the season, literally because of, you know, people being missed. And that's going to happen everywhere. Like 49ers losing Bosa, like all of these little things, they swing things, they could swing things dramatically.
Yeah. I'm thinking of a, you know, a lot of this bullshit started, I would say, Minnesota, Pittsburgh early this morning. Although,
it started immediately.
It's nothing on that game, but like we already had like the Steelers voodoo going early in Dublin. Minnesota got decimated on the O-line. I think just as that game wore on, it was Carson Wentz who takes some, you know, days in the pocket trying to move the ball on that defense, and eventually it just, you know, the Steelers D was making plays. But yeah, little things happen on a weekly basis. Players leave games. Like we have to parse through all this stuff. And you mentioned KC Baltimore. Like to me, Baltimore started that game pretty well. It looked from the early going like Baltimore looks like they're moving the ball pretty easily, but just like, you know, KC slowly works their way back into it, and then just everyone is dropping on the Baltimore side of the ball. Like an insane amount of injuries that they suffered. Obviously, Lamar, the big one, leaving the game, but left tackle, Ronnie Stanley, multiple injuries in the secondary. Front seven is just a complete disaster at this point. And for me, it's really tough to take things away from that game because it's like, are the Chiefs back with Xavier Worthy there, or is just this a product of Baltimore having no one? And I'm really not sure with those teams.
Yeah, and I figured we'd get to that when we go through like wrap ups and next week. You know, it's finally a positive data point that the offense had a little bit of explosiveness to it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you move Kansas City a tick in the right direction, but they'll be better when Rice comes back too, I'm sure. But it's really hard to know.
Yeah,
they still don't have a running game.
I know. I don't know. It felt more, you know, the Chiefs, it did feel more succinct for them today. They had 24 first downs, pretty solid, still pretty like meager yards per play numbers, 5.5, 44% success rate. But EPA was through the roof, hit some plays downfield, won the turnover battle. It's just, I mean, when you look at what the Ravens number, I don't even know if they're going to be on the board for next week. I can't imagine that Ravens game is on the board for next week against the Texans because
it's not yet.
Yeah, there's like a Lamar injury. There's a million injuries on the team. I don't know. I don't know that how you're going to even be able to price that team at this point. So I said on Pizza Buffet this morning, I'm kind of hoping the Ravens lose so that I can buy some stock in them moving forwards. But it's so bad now that I'm not going to. I just kind of have to wait this out because it could possibly get worse.
Yeah.
Other stuff today, I think there's certain things that you want to get right. For me, Patriots against Carolina, extremely misleading blowout, by the way. I do want to say, like 42-13 final, probably played closer to like a 10-point game if you're just looking at box score, surface stats, something like that. Huge special teams for the Patriots in that one, and things really got away from them there. But that was a nice one that I got right because I know that like the market was kind of bouncing up and down on that one. Panthers are just like, you know, I'm not there, man. I watch that team and I'm like, I root for my guy Eager, but just
same
disaster.
I didn't see a ton of that game. The games that I saw the most of were probably Cleveland, Detroit, Tennessee, Houston, Bills, Saints. Those were the three that I kind of had.
Wow. I mean, by choice?
Not exactly. I mean, I saw a little bit of the Eagles-Bucks game, not a ton, but I had Bills and Houston in Survivor, so watched a little bit of that. I mean, Flacco, got to watch him be Flacco, so that was interesting.
Yeah,
Uh,
which I mean, so I saw a lot of that too. I bet some Detroit. And again, like another one of those games where box score wise doesn't look too bad. It's very reminiscent of Browns at Ravens a few weeks ago, where it doesn't look too bad. I mean, the Cleveland defense held Detroit's offense to 40% success rate. It's the Browns offense is just so bad right now that the defense can only keep them in it for so long. So I caught a lot of that one. You mentioned Tennessee, Houston. Like Tennessee's got to be at the point now where unless the number is insanely egregious, I don't know how you bet that team. Like the coaching is horrendous with that team.
it's really bad, and then there's no talent either to make up for any of the bad coaching.
I
It's
know.
really a really tough watch.
Like to see Houston, like I did probably about half the game. I thought the Texans might be able to blow this. Like they weren't separating really well, but just as the game wore on, you could see the Texans getting into more and more of a rhythm.
Yeah, just
And
slowly, and then you just pull away a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And Tennessee did nothing to answer anything.
the one thing I'll
Really
say about the Texans from that particular game is as the game wore on, they used a lot more Woody Marks instead of Nick Chubb.
they
Made
did.
a huge difference in the offense. Like and if those snap counts are going to continue going forwards, they still don't have an O-line. They still won't score on good defenses, but against bad defenses like the Titans, they have a little bit more explosiveness. So I think you saw that as the game wore on. I mean, Chubb, like guy was amazing, but had a devastating knee injury, and he's just like he's lost the burst at this point.
Well, I mean, the shelf life isn't all that long on running backs anyway. You add that into the mix, and then holy shit, it's tough. And I'm curious of what that game is really would have opened at. I haven't. I normally don't look at look aheads before we do our show, so I don't know what it was looking like before, the Baltimore injuries, but be interested to see what those were.
Yeah. As it stands in the overtime right now, Cowboys kicked the field goal on the first possession. I'm actually quite surprised. Well, I'm not surprised that they did, but with the way that the defense has played today, might have wanted to go for it on that play. But that's where it stands right now. Few other games today where I guess the box score doesn't necessarily match the final, and I want to dig into them a little bit. Chargers Giants. Giants led kind of wire to wire. They had 3.6 yards per play on offense. They had 89 net yards passing. Every time I watched a play in that game, it seemed like Jackson Dart was just taking off and running the
Yes.
ball. And I don't know how sustainable that's going to be going forward. It's like somebody's going to watch that tape and be like, let's just spy this guy on every play. And that's going to be cut out. They lose Neighbors. I don't know. I guess they win. They beat the Chargers. Should be like a really impressive result. It just never really felt that impressive to me.
Yeah, and it wasn't, right? Like that is going to be an incredibly misleading thing. And how do you really say Dart is a significant upgrade over Russell Wilson right now? I mean, do you really like because he wasn't beating anybody by throwing the ball downfield? There's no more neighbors now either. So when you think of all that together, it's hard to do much more with the Giants.
Yeah, I will say we haven't seen a lot of like big game day steam this year. At least I don't think I have. The Giants were getting hammered quite a
Yeah,
bit
they
before game
did.
time today. And listen, at the end of the day, the defense held up. You get more injuries to the Chargers O-line. Joe Alt, massive injury for them with Slater already on IR. Mekhi Becton out today. I mean, it just felt like an ugly game. But I'm not sure. To your point, I don't know what I do with the Giants at this point. It seems like the same team to me. Maybe a little bit more. If you want to go down narrative street, maybe a little bit more energy playing for Dart instead of Russ, and I can see that being a thing from an effort level point of view. But nothing I saw out of the rookie today that would lead me to believe that like we need to make a change on the Giants going forwards.
Yeah, it's not like we saw like Drake May come out there and rifling the ball downfield and making big throws. He certainly not explosive, but he was able to move the chains with his legs. That, to your point, is likely not sustainable.
Yeah. You mentioned you watched some of Saints Bills today.
Yeah,
Was that like as I felt like the Saints could really win that game at one point in the second half. Like, did it feel that way to you?
it did. Rattler missed a couple of throws that I think would have turned into touchdowns where they settled. And I can't say I understand what was going on with the Bills. It was almost like the Bills were just
Yeah.
trying to play a very low variance game. It
Mm.
felt like shit that we used to see last year a little bit with them too. And they never really tried to like step on their throat, so to speak.
I felt like the Bills they're messing around a little bit, but it felt easy for them on offense for most of the game until it got close. I think like late downs, late in the game for the Saints were really bad. They had the red zone interception, which was killer. There were some sacks down the stretch in big situations as well. It was almost like, again, very narrative-y, but the Bills were just kind of going through the motions with that game until they had to turn it on, and then it changed a little bit.
Yeah, it was kind of like they were riding a stationary bike at like a very warm up speed, just thinking that they would never have to kind of really get loose and get in the game. And they eventually did. I'm trying to remember who Rattler missed a big throw to that was open in the end zone.
Yeah, I
That would have
saw
gave
that.
them the lead late. And
It was
then,
behind Brandon Cooks.
yeah, Cooks. Yes, there it
Yeah,
is. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah. And then the Bills were fine from that point. But yeah, they were going to be behind if he catches that ball.
yeah. I mean, Cooks almost made an amazing catch. It was
Yeah.
so far behind him and barely touched the ground. That's a good point. I forgot about that play. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's 1 week, but I mean, the Saints weren't dominated on the box score, but they were a 14 and a half point dog, and they kept it in it. So
And they
potentially,
got money all week. I mean, what was it, 16 and a half, 17 when we did the show last week? And,
yeah.
they kept getting money, and reasonably so. I'm trying to think of a team that I can kind of analog them to in terms of just like effort and being able to move the ball, but not really great at anything.
Hmm.
At, not sharp either.
Yeah. The live 3rd and 6 in the Cowboys game to me looked like definitely a defensive pass interference that wasn't called. So that will be a talking point, I think, tomorrow if the Cowboys go on to get a stop here on 4th down, which I'm not putting a lot of faith in. One other game, Clive, I watched a lot of today was Eagles and Bucks. And I've kind of been in this mode for the first few weeks of the season where I'm like, let's just give the Eagles a chance to get the offense going, new coordinator. I'm done with giving the Eagles chances. They are winning with smoke and mirrors at this point. Mm-hmm. They had 3.4 yards per play on offense today. Horrendous. They did not complete a pass in the entire second half today against the Bucks. The only thing that won them the game was the Bucks' ineptitude as well. +2 turnover margin against Tampa. Tampa basically kept themselves in this game because of explosives. But other than that, like on a down-to-down basis, they weren't very good. I know how many people have said this, and it kind of drives me crazy, but I'm coming around on it. It feels like the Eagles are the Chiefs of last year.
Yeah, if you didn't say it, I was going to. I don't know what's in there. I mean, they're not getting any explosives really from Barkley, like from the season. It just seems like they're slogging along. Like they will get into their 3rd and shorts or whatever, and they'll play for 4th downs and all of that stuff. But they managed to convert and get the ball down the field. But their defense is playing overall relatively well. So when you say like explosives for Tampa Bay, I didn't see a ton of that game. I saw some of the highlights, obviously, but was it because of the game state where where Philly was playing a little softer? And, I saw a big Irving play.
There was a big Irving play, and there was an Ibuka touchdown, which Baker threw a ball into very tight coverage that got through. They were both like 70-plus yard touchdowns. But outside of those, there was an end zone interception. That was like
I did see that.
All their late down passing really stalled out, I thought, as well. There was huge special teams. There was a block punt touchdown in this game.
Yeah, it was the
for the
first.
Eagles.
Yeah,
Right. There was
first drive.
a kick return that was returned quite a bit in this game as well. You had Bucky Irving's fumble, which gave Philly short field. Like it felt very much like the Eagles really, really benefited from some turnover luck in this game. And aside from that, like the offenses can't do anything. I'm struggling with this team right now. I really do. I think special teams, couple of short fields, that's how they got separation in this game. And last week, I mean, they were getting their asses kicked by the Rams before the wheels fell off for the Rams. I think there's concerns here for Philly going forwards. I do.
Yeah, I don't think there's any team standing above the rest at this point. When you look at that kind of chunk tier at the top, and it just seems like they're all kind of trading places a little bit. So it's between Detroit, Buffalo, Green Bay is not looking great after this week either. Baltimore now has injuries, but you know, now does KC make a leap up? Chargers come down. Like all this little stuff is kind of happening. But there's no team that I look at and be like, oh God, they're a wagon, right? Like they're really a threat.
Yep. Two games we didn't talk about, we can touch on really briefly. Commanders, Falcons. I had a pretty large investment in the Falcons today, multiple numbers over the course of the week. A lot of it was just speculative. Talked about this on the Thursday show. I also did You Better You Bet this week where I was fairly certain Jaden Daniels wasn't going to play and he was still like priced half in. So I took a lot of Atlanta. And again, it just goes to show the cyclical effect of the NFL, right? Last week, Penix, terrible, can't move the ball against Carolina. This time around, I mean, he didn't play the best game, but he played pretty well, moved it consistently against the Commanders. Offense, had a 82.8% series conversion rate, 6.8 yards per play, 24 first downs, one of the highest offensive outputs of the entire day from the Atlanta Falcons. So that felt good because, I mean, those ones where you beat the market by so much, losing those, they really mess you up.
Yeah, they do. And I feel bad because that was one of the unders that I gave out last week that closed, 2.5 points or something like that. Probably better than what it was at last week. Mm-hmm. And it looked like every time I clicked onto that game, it felt like somebody was wide open in space for Atlanta.
Yep. They had huge chunk plays in that game. Huge. That's actually a really good point. There was one bad Penix pick where he threw into like zone coverage and didn't see the underneath defender. Aside from that, though, you're right, man. Explosive passing for Atlanta is exactly what decided the game. And every single time Washington like clawed back a little bit, Atlanta immediately answered with an explosive, right? Felt pretty comfortable for them. So that one was interesting. And then I guess Jacksonville, San Fran. Again, this is one of those games where I bet the Jags. It's a wire-to-wire winner, basically, but it never really felt that way. Like I'm at a point in the second half where I'm thinking about all the possible ways I could lose. I think if the Jags had kicked a field goal to go up 29-21, if that went through, I would have been sweating overtime in some capacity there, but they missed that, so it stayed 26-21. But another game, box score metrics, I mean, +4 turnover margin did it for them. But aside from that, special teams like aided them. I was on the right side of some special teams variance today, man.
Hey, that's always a nice feeling too. I guess we didn't really talk about the Bears-Raiders game either, did we?
Just off the top and how I mean, do I want to relive that? I guess we have to relive that, right? It's insane ending. Like when these coaches settle for these long field goals, it drives me nuts. Like when they had that 3rd and 2, there was no doubt in my mind that they were going to run the ball. And in fairness, they've run the ball effectively all day. That was their bread and butter. They didn't pass the ball effectively. They must have had the most rushing yards in the league today, if I had to guess. Rushing net, 240. Not even close to the second. So I get it. But when everybody is at the line of scrimmage and knows what you're going to do, my God, man. Like have Geno bootleg out, do something instead of just handing the ball up the middle and settle for 50+ yard field goal and it gets blocked.
Yeah. How many picks does Geno have this year? I mean, he threw 2 of the same interception in the same game to the same guy today.
And he didn't get sacked today either. He barely had any pressure. I mean, that is just a frustrating box score. Like, to look at that one, it is extremely, extremely frustrating. I mean, 6.9 yards per play to 4.2, and they barely even passed the ball. Like, 53% success rate. That's one of the highest in the league this week. It is the second highest success rate of any offense. The highest was the Steelers today. Yet we lose that game on a block kick. So, what are you going to do?
We're at the end of this game here. I know we're not supposed to try, or we're trying not to get distracted, but let's see.
Well, we can just say we'll do this one in real time because there's 1 second left in the game.
Yeah.
And it's 4th and 14, and Green Bay is going to kick the field goal to try to tie the game. So I can already see the chat right now wondering whether or not they advance in Survivor. Check your rules. Most Survivor pools, your team has to win.
Yes.
So it was this was pretty close to the clock running out on this play, on the final play. But McManus is out, kick is up and through, and we got a 40-40 tie on Sunday Night Football. You know what? Cowboys fan here, I'll take it.
Moral victory?
Yeah, I mean, especially after settling for the first field goal in overtime here, I already thought the live market after Dallas kicked the field goal to go up 40-37 still had Green Bay favored in the game. Like, that's how you know it was a bad decision to do that. But at the end of the day, it's a tie for the Cowboys against the Packers. 40-40, Scorigami. Wow, there we go.
Who knew that extra point block for 2 points was going to change everything tonight?
I know. Crazy, man. I forgot about that. It was 13-0. They're kicking the extra point, gets blocked and returned to the house. 13-2 at that point.
Yeah, I was just fucking with Hitman because I knew he had the over. I'm like, a couple points in there for you.
There you go. Okay, let's flip gears here. We're going to look ahead to week 5. Just remember here, we are going to go game by game, rotation number order. But before we do, none of this would be possible without our great sponsors at Fanduel. And if you're betting on Fanduel this season, here's some things to keep in mind. Number 1, celebrate your wins. Whether your same game parlay is 2 legs or 10 legs, always use your legs to celebrate appropriately. Number 2, no kickoff, no problem. Live betting means the next play could be your play. And number 3, if you're a new customer, bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. And now you're ready to play your game on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Visit FanDuel.com/forwardprogress to download the app today and get started. Please play responsibly. You must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas and affiliation of Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., 19 plus and physically located in Ontario, or 18 plus in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. First online real wager money only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit rg-help.com. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccbg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 or visit connectsontario.ca. All right. Transparency, very important to us here on the Sunday Reset. Quick review of where we stand on the season with last week. I gave out a couple plays that were solo. New England, ended up being just like roughly closing where it was, but we got the big win out of it. Atlanta, that was an easy one with some really good CLV. So happy to finally get some results for those ones. Clive, tough start. You got some good numbers. Start. Carolina, New England closed well below 44. Washington, Atlanta on the quarterback stuff closed way below as well. But you can't pay the bills with CLV, my friend.
No, we can't. This is the opposite of last year.
You ran very, very well last year.
I did.
I think plus 18 units or something like that. It was pretty crazy. Both of us agreed on the Jets Miami over. That's pending for Monday Night Football. and looking like a good number right now as we sit north of 44 at the moment. But we move on to this week, and we're going to get things started with our Thursday night football matchup, which I'm looking forward to. It's an NFC West matchup. The LA Rams are hosting the San Francisco 49ers at SoFi Stadium. Early number here, Rams minus 3.5, minus 105. Total at Fanduel, 46.5. We do see some 47s in market right now. So my immediate thought here, just off seeing this number, is it's 49ers or nothing for me at this price. But I'm a little bit concerned on the short week. Ricky Pearsall got hurt today, left the game for them. Again, I don't think George Kittle is going to be activated for. I think technically he can be, but I doubt he will be for Thursday night football this week. What do you think on this one, Clive?
So in essence, the market's pricing basically San Francisco, same as Indy, minus whatever you want to factor in for the short week.
Right.
I guess my question is, because the one game that I didn't see hardly anything of was San Francisco Jags.
Yep.
As I was following the score, like you said, the Jags seemed like a wire-to-wire winner there. Were the 49ers able to move the ball, pass rush, problems with no Bosa? Like, what did it look like?
So first and foremost, I'll say hidden special team swings in that game both ways. There was like a kick catch interference that gave San Fran short field early. There was a house call for Jacksonville in that game. It was like a 90-yard return by Parker Washington as well. So that plays into it. Just looking at down and distance stuff, Jacksonville leaned a lot of pass. Their early down efficiency was pretty good. I think where San Fran had problems was their run game really lagged. And their early downs, minus 0.19 EPA. So they're always playing from behind. They've been able to overcome that so far this year. They had a really high third down conversion percentage, but it kind of went back down today. Purdy was wild. Is his first game back? I mean, the one thing I will say about watching a Brock Purdy start versus a Mac Jones start is that at least Purdy does make a lot of those throws. I see some people in here that are talking about like Mac Jones being a better option. I'm gonna strong disagree. Very strongly disagree on that.
Yeah, I can't get behind that. Like, that's not even something I can imagine just watching Mac play. I mean, to me, the opener seems fine. It seems like right where it should be. I don't really have a lot of interest one way or the other. I'm thinking about the total though. I just don't have a lot of trust in the 49ers offense being able to move the ball, but I also don't know how much trust I have in the 49ers also being able to stop the Rams from explosives. Nakua was amazing today. And
so Nakua really benefited from Kenny Moore being out for the Colts. He's a pretty solid slot corner. Would have saw a lot of Puka in that game. I'm not saying he would have shut him down, but he was wide open everywhere. I was impressed with the Rams offense today. They have games where you're like, what the hell is going on here? I was impressed with them today for the most part, but I don't know. It just seems like there's not really that much separating these teams. The Bosa injury is killer. I guess I do have to watch this back, and because Trevor Lawrence, I don't think took a sack today. I don't know if it was because he was getting the ball out quick or San Fran just couldn't generate any pressure whatsoever. So I do want to look into that. Also, Rams at SoFi, like home field advantage there is relatively small. Divisional game on a short week. These teams know each other. It's not like I would give them Thursday night football. You have a wide range of what you give home field for. Mm-hmm. I don't.
And not as much time to prepare in terms of game planning and things like that. I think in a normal situation, I might, like if this was a Sunday normal time game, I might look at the over a little bit at 46.5. But now I'm kind of like laying off.
Yeah, for me, nothing that I think I have to lock in at this exact moment in time. But I will think about San Fran a little bit more as the week goes on here. Rams are good, don't get me wrong. And I was against San Fran today, but I don't see a ton separating the two here. Our next Dublin game, I think it's still Dublin because Minnesota's staying after this
Yes.
week.
Yeah.
They are taking on the Cleveland Browns. So this is neutral site. Fanduel is currently sitting at 4.5. Some other books in market 3.5. Total in the game is low at 37.
So there's an important question, though.
Apologies. I'll just
Yeah.
thank you very much, Chad. It's in London. So yeah, but they're staying overseas to practice this week. Are the Vikings?
Is Wentz staying, or are they sending him home?
I think Wentz. I mean, I don't think McCarthy's going to be back next week. So I think Wentz is.
I know he's not
playing.
Just watching Wentz, it just feels like I see gears and smoking, and like him trying to go through progression and not stare down his primary target whenever they're in a negative game state. The positive is they're playing the Browns, who also don't have an offense.
There's a lot of unknowns for me in this. So I feel like the max that this number could ever be is where it's at right now.
Yeah.
It's a neutral site game. You have the potential of the Vikings missing 3 offensive linemen. Ryan Kelly had another concussion today. That's like his second, I think, in 3 weeks. So I really doubt he's going to play in this game. Brian O'Neill left really early at right tackle. Huge loss for them. Now they do have the week to try to overcome. They're going to throw a million screens in this game against this Browns front. But this Browns front is going to cause chaos. And, listen, I know that their offense sucks altogether, but if it just feels like both of these defenses are really going to corral the opposing offense, I wonder, RJ Bell in the chat says Vikings get at least half point for jet lag advantage. I was thinking about that too. What's that advantage like for staying there and not having to fly? I don't know, but I just don't think that this can go out over 4.5.
No, I don't think so either. And I don't know if it'll get over money, but I really don't have any interest in playing even at 37.5 with that low number. I'm actually thinking about under.
So there's a few things I want to get to in the chat. So Bertie says Van Ginkel ? Van Ginkel has a chance to play. I would probably say he's above 50% to play next week. I don't know the status of Jack Conklin on Cleveland's O-line. I know Cedric Tillman got hurt today as well, so a couple injuries there. That all factors into it. Brian D says KOC's play calling has been bad in general. I got to tell you, Clive, this year from KOC, I'm not having it. I think he's had a very dismal year as a coach so far. And I get the quarterback situation he's dealing with, but it's not just that. It's play calling, it's in-game management. I thought them kicking an onside today was pretty stupid at the end of the game there. It's like 5% recovery rate.
Running the ball, am I confusing it? Wait, another game? I don't think I am, right? Didn't they run the ball? They got down big chunk play fourth quarter, and they ended up wasting like 30 or 40 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Big time waste.
Yeah, all right. I am thinking the right thing. That was bad. I have a bigger problem with his game management than his play calling because I understand the issues with the offensive line, the quarterbacks. I guess I get the conservatism, for lack of a better word, but I would expect more from a in-game management from him for sure. Like, there's no excuse for that shit.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, the 4.5 that is at FanDuel right now, in my opinion, is a valuable position. I just cannot see the Vikings with the uncertainty on O-line, backup quarterback still in Carson Wentz. I don't know how they close higher. Yes, I understand all the matchup advantages. I know Flores is going to put Flacco in a pretzel, but the same thing's going to happen to Wentz in this game. Wentz and Flacco are they're not that much different. And in some cases, someone would even argue Flacco's better. So I'm saying that 4.5 is good at FanDuel. Minnesota, Cleveland, 9:30. If you want to throw up some cereal, watching that one. Van Ginkel does really matter. I agree with you, Bertie. It's huge for that defense. Okay, we're going to skip over Dallas and Jets. It's not open anywhere right now. Just of note, just a quick thought here. I'm very curious to see where this total opens. The advanced number was 46.5. I think that these could be two of the worst. I mean, Dallas is definitely one of the worst 3 defenses in the league. I think the Jets are sneaky bad defensively as well. I would love to see what this total is opening at. But I think sub 47, I might be clicking the over when it.
Yeah. This should definitely close a few points, or not close. This has to be a couple of points higher than the Jets Dolphins game tomorrow.
Yeah. Sorry, producer Pascal. I did actually go out of order there, but there was no line on the board anyways. We're good. We'll go back to the order that I had planned for. Miami, Carolina. We do have a price for this, even though they play tomorrow night due to the Dolphins. Miami is a 1.5 point favorite on the road, laying minus 115. Totals 44.5. I don't have much interest in going early on this game.
No, nor do I. I'm having a hard time getting a good read on Miami. I'm hoping tomorrow will help me a little bit more because I see some glimpses of their offense being not the worst offense in the NFL.
It's just the problem is without the O lineman there, they cannot generate explosives like they once could. That was the advantage that they have. They could actually throw downfield and had enough time for Tua to make a throw. Now they don't. But I just look at this game as a whole. You have O-line injuries for Miami. You have cluster cornerback injuries for Miami. You have skill position cluster injuries for Carolina. Jatavian Sanders, Moore, Leggett. You have O-line cluster injuries for the Panthers. Center and guard on IR. They lose Chandler Zavala today, another guard. It just seems like there's so many moving parts here that unless I had an inkling one way or another that players were going to come back, I don't think there's anything for me to do here.
Yeah. I mean, Tua really needs time for like routes to develop, especially underneath and drags and the type of stuff that his fast guys can run to get open. And it just doesn't look pretty at all. But under the same token, Carolina's put up 3 kind of stinkers on offense in one reasonable game, and that's not a good ratio.
Man, it's Carolina, New England today. I watched Carolina go down the field on the first drive. I'm like, holy shit, I made the wrong bet. I'm like, this Panthers offense is back. And then after that, nothing. Like his scripted drive success and then nothing afterwards. And I don't think that's going to change, but who knows? Dolphins defense is the great equalizer, Clive. Right? I mean,
Sure.
Could turn it around. Okay, Raiders coming off of that very disappointing loss, head out on the road to take on the Colts. Early line at Fanduel here is Colts minus 6.5, minus 115. And the total in the game is 48.5 as it stands right now.
Is this this is the first time the Colts are really laying any margin this year, right?
Yeah, so I have separate feelings on this game. So first and foremost, a lot of people would argue that this is an inflated number on the Colts because it is. Like the market is upgrading the Colts on a weekly basis and downgrading the Raiders. And we're like, have we hit the peak now on the Colts or like the floor on the Raiders or maybe a combo on both? Because there's not at any point this year where the Colts would be remotely close to laying this number. You think that's a fair assessment?
Oh, absolutely. That's kind of where my head has gone.
Okay. Now I'm going to say Las Vegas lost their left tackle, Colton Miller, one of the best left tackles in the game. He was screaming in agony, holding his shoulder. He's probably done. They lost another cornerback, Eric Stokes. They are horrendous. This is like a very sharp coach in Steichen against a dumbass in Carroll. And this to me like reeks of a game where I just don't know what the Raiders are like path to success is really. I mean, they want to run the ball over and over. They don't have the O-line to do it. So I'm very conflicted on this one.
Yeah. I think this will get to 7. I think not that I'm trying to get to public versus sharp splits or anything like that, but I think just the whole conversation we had, I think the public's going to have a very hard time getting to this number that it's at right now. But right now, I don't think it's enough.
No one's going to want to bet the Raiders in this game. No one.
No.
I don't think so. I don't know how, like, any of my friends that watch football, there's not after losing to the Bears, it's like the final nail in the coffin for most of these guys. Can I ask you your thoughts on the total? Because I believe that the Raiders offense is dismal. I believe that they're running an offense with Chip Kelly that is not working. They finally got the run game going today against the Bears front that can't stop the run. Now they lose their left tackle. I could just see them leaning fully into trying to jam the rock on early downs next week and getting stuffed in this game. And the one thing with the Colts that I will say is, I mentioned this on Pizza Buffet this morning, they're nickel and diming you to death, success rate very high. They don't generate explosive passes. For the most part, they haven't. Now, there was A.D. Mitchell down the sideline today, but when Daniel Jones took shots today, he actually turned it over downfield a lot. So I am inclined to lean towards the under in this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to take the over. I would either look at the under in the game or just the Raiders under.
Yeah.
That's where I would go.
Yeah. Let's math this through in our heads. So 27-21 is roughly the average final projected. A little bit higher than that. 27 and a half, 21. So you're probably going to get a Raiders team total of 20 and a half juiced over or 21 and a half juiced under.
Yeah, I'm going to give a quick look because I think if you can lock in Raiders under somewhere, that is a look that I would like.
Yeah. Like this felt like the Raiders' max offensive output today. It really
yes.
Aside from the turnovers aside, I don't like this is going to be a big step up in defense. Indy in terms of like adjusted defense so far this year is borderline top 10, I would say, whereas the Bears are not. Most definitely.
Yeah, this is a Raiders team total under game for me.
Okay, I like that look as well. Keep it moving here. Jackson Dart making his first career road start. It's on the road at New Orleans, taking on the Saints. The Giants are favored on the road, -1.5, -115. Totals 41.5, juiced under, -115 as well. Malik Neighbors is obviously the very notable loss for the Giants offense. Seems to be...
And my fantasy team.
Yeah, that's tough. I think it's an ACL. That's what's being reported, but we'll confirm that tomorrow. Javon Holland left the game on defense for them today. Safety that's kind of gone downhill over the years, but still, starter. Saints lost an offensive lineman, Cesar Ruiz, late in the game. And then also, this is going to be week 5. Chase Young hasn't played a game yet. They didn't put him on IR to start the year, which would be 4 weeks for sure. So they thought he was going to come back before this. I don't know what's going on there or whether it's possible that he's going to return at some point or another, because I don't even know if he's practicing. But those are all the situations there. I think the number, Clive, here feels fair to me, but like I would only want the Saints side of this game.
Yes, I think Connor put in the chat Saints money line. Easy click, no. But I have a hard time making the Saints a dog to the Giants at home because the Saints haven't been completely awful, but relatively speaking to what I've seen from the Giants. Yes, the Giants won today, but that was as much smoke and mirrors as anything that I've seen in a while.
Right. The Saints, aside from the Seahawks game, they were fairly competitive. Cardinals, 49ers, Bills, they were around in those games. It's an ugly game. It's a pretty ugly game.
I can't see myself wanting to take the Giants.
They just don't. They don't have a passing game at the moment.
And there are worse Giants numbers out there, by the way. So if you like the Saints and you're looking for a couple points, it's out there for you. This might be like a Saints teaser gross leg that I would take maybe later in the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just thinking in my head, and it's like the favorite is on the road, and they don't have a passing game at the moment.
Does this total feel high for you? Well, not a FanDuel. Sorry, I'm looking at the whole board.
Yeah, you see some 42.5 out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I will say
It's
this.
certainly not enough for me to bet it today, but I'll look at that throughout the course of the week.
I think directionally, if I had to guess where this market is going to go, it's going to be Saints towards Saints and under. That's what I believe the market will do in this game. I don't think I have like enough when I run this where like maybe I make the game a pick 'em. I guess Saints money line at FanDuel is pretty good, plus 114. I mean, that's a pretty solid number relative to where some of the sharper books are at and the rest of the market really. So maybe I could see that being a valuable price. I just don't think it's like instant.
It's not super enticing or like.
Yeah, I agree. Josh says Giants D made Chargers look like shit today. It's true, they did. Joe Alt left that game fairly early, didn't return. Mekhi Becton was out, down a couple offensive linemen. I mean, game state, like they were ahead, played softer coverage for the most part. Chargers still had 6 yards per play. They just turned it over a couple times, and they had 14 penalties for 107 yards. An insane amount of penalties.
It was super sloppy, and Herbert threw a pretty good ball to Quentin Johnston. The play before the last play that should have come down with. I mean, I really think in a lot of cases, like that's the top outcome for the Giants, obviously.
Yeah. Yep.
And maybe the worst you could see the Chargers play.
I know some books out there have 2.5, Saints 2.5 minus 110. I don't see how it can close worse than that. I don't see a scenario where the Giants can close as a 3-point favorite in this game. Like you're basically saying that the Giants are 4.5 points better on neutral than the Saints. I don't think that that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I don't.
First career road start, no. So I do think that's a valuable number. I do. Houston, Baltimore, we're going to skip over. I wish we could talk about it a little bit, but there's just so much in limbo, and there's not even lines anywhere for Houston, Baltimore at the moment. So, you're not going to do that. Chris says, now that Rob has said it, it's like 100% Giants close minus 3.5. Yeah, Saints are they're going to have some sort of influenza that goes around on Saturday night, and half the team's going to get scratched at that point.
It's not Hitman.
It's true. He has some really bad luck this year. Broncos, Phillies. I'm in playoff baseball mode. Broncos, Eagles. Broncos obviously are in action on the second game on Monday Night Football, hosting the Bengals, where they are currently sitting in market at like a 7.5, 8-point favorite. This one is Eagles minus 4.5, minus 118 at FanDuel. Depending on where you shop in market, actually most of the market is at 5.5 in this game. So if you like the Eagles, FanDuel will be the spot to bet it. I do not like the Eagles. In fact, I would say the 5.5s that are still out there on Denver, I would click that.
Same.
I don't think, even if Denver somehow loses to the Bengals tomorrow night, I don't think you can go much higher than where we're at right now. And there is a scenario where the Broncos blow the absolute doors off the Bengals, and that number gets lowered. I don't think the Eagles' offense is trustworthy enough right now at this price against a quality defense like this.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd get a higher opener from a total too for this game.
So did I. I can't do anything with this total as it stands. Mm-hmm. I mean, it should probably be around 44, but like 44.5 juiced under minus 118 is fine.
Yeah. I was hoping we'd see maybe 45 or 45.5. But
I like the Broncos in that game.
Yeah, getting 5.5, I think that's a relatively easy early click.
Naturally, this will be the game where Philly's offense goes off 5 touchdowns for Hurts, something stupid. I will say, I just really random comment that I didn't fit in the early going. Philly sucks so far this year. Sirianni got so much shit last year from the fan base, ended up winning the Super Bowl. He is one of the best in-game guys in the league. He seems to know what's going on in every situation at all times, and they also do like little things. Like tush, they had 2 trick plays out of the tush push formation today that were like the easiest touchdowns ever. Like that is just good coaching. It's. I think he is so much better than people give him credit for.
I do too. And when I saw those variations, I'm like, does this have like an idea about game theory and not being completely exploitable and, wanting to show different looks just so that you can't, I mean, they have a hard time stopping the tush push in general anyway.
Right.
But just give them something else to think about. It was interesting. That's kind of where my head went. It seems like he's got a very distinct plan in almost all cases and states of what he wants to do and where he wants to get. Like I don't get that element of randomness. Like, oh, maybe this will be a good play to call here. You know what I mean? Like, it's interesting.
Yeah. Shawnee in the chat is asking, how do you price all the block kick madness? I mean, sometimes you just got to embrace the randomness of the sport you bet on. And sometimes it'll work in your favor. Sometimes it'll work against you. You can try to price this stuff. I definitely notice people are jumping quicker on the edges. I think it's something to do. I can't remember which game it was today. I think it might have been Greg Olson, the game that he called, where he was talking about how the punter, before they snap the ball, they do like a quick movement with their hand. And a lot of the edge rushers are now just trying to time it to
key on that. Yeah.
And some teams were actually intentionally doing it to draw their teams offside as well. So it was Vikings game today, but I don't know. It's impossible to like actually, properly price that stuff. Keeping it going here. Slim picking so far for me. I guess the Browns number looks like that got taken out by you vultures already. Happens pretty quickly. And then Broncos for me so far. Titans at Cardinals is our next game. Cardinals minus 9.5, minus 115, 40.5 is our total. I feel like an episode of The Simpsons where I'm Bart Simpson and I should just be writing on the board, I will not bet the Titans. I will not bet the Titans over and over and over. And I'm not going to this week, even though I think like these numbers are just progressively getting bigger on a weekly basis. You may not be able to quantify just how horribly coached and how bad the Tennessee Titans are.
Yeah, they're god awful. They're so bad. Cam Ward is not good. I mean, I'm not going to say he has no shot at being a productive NFL quarterback at any point, but he's not put in a position to succeed at the same time. That's a lot to lay with the Cardinals. Christ.
I know that they have some extra rest. I don't, from an injury perspective, just trying to think for this game, Zay Jones would be up in the air for Arizona. J.C. Latham, the right tackle for Tennessee. Maybe they'll have their full offensive line for the first time this year. This almost feels, the feel of it is so similar to how I felt about Texans today, which is like one of these teams is just they don't have it going offensively in this game. They don't have it. But how can you lay the number with the Cardinals? I don't.
I mean, is this even down? Like I'm trying to look at numbers from this week. I mean, it's a slight downgrade of Tennessee, but not much either. Like, what was the look ahead here?
7.5. Just pulled it up right now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this number just feels like what it should probably be. And I wish I had something to tell somebody, but I don't.
Brandon says, imagine laying 9.5 with Kyler Murray on a 40.5 point total. That's a good point, especially low totals. The points are generally more valuable. RJ Bell. I don't know if I could take Titans plus 14. That's kind of how I feel. I love playing this game with the chat. Let's do this game one more time.
Yeah.
What is your insta-click number on the Titans? The number that where immediately you saw that, you would take Tennessee. I want to know what that number is. Some people are going to say this current number, this current spread. First item in is 17.
I was going to say 16 and a half.
Okay, so we got a lot of 10 and a halves. We're all over the place here. The highest I've seen is 20. Lowest I've seen is 10 and a half. So 10 and a half is an obvious buy point for a lot of people. I kind of feel like I would buy at 10 and a half.
You would, but where would you be like, I feel good about this?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know that I would. Because you got to be willing to bet both sides of every game. And like this already feels like a tad too high to me with the current state of the Cardinals. Can't move the ball. Like Kyler's been horrible this year. Horrendous. Looks well below average.
I mean, I kind of like the under in this game.
Yeah, fuck. I would have loved the 41.
Yeah, I this is something that I probably need a little more time to kind of look over and see, but that's where I'm leaning. I mean, there's a juiced 41 and a half out there if somebody really likes the under.
I love the comments coming in. Marcus, I'm running out of teams. I don't have PTSD betting. It's true. Brandon, 3 hours of pain no matter what you do here. I mean, the Titans are now 3-18 against the spread. Last 21, I'm pretty sure. Those are Callahan games. I just gotta cross this game off the list. Like it's gotten to that point now where I feel like I'm gonna have the same conversation every single week. Maybe they're just that bad and deserve to be priced like a historically bad team.
If this game was on a Saturday, would you watch it?
Oh, 100%.
I think that's the only way I would watch it. Like,
I'll have it on Red Zone next week for sure. But if it was a standalone,
it'll be on Red Zone. But like
100%.
With Tampa Bay, Seattle, Detroit, Cincinnati, and the Commanders and Chargers, hopefully Daniels is playing. But like, those are 3 games that I would have interest in watching. And then there's that.
Mike says Steelers and Titans I need to remove from my odd screens. You're telling me, man. You and me both. Okay.
The Steelers cost me so much money in life. Oh.
I'm just going to hope a 10 and a half doesn't show in this game this week because then I'm going to have a conversation with myself. I'm like just reviewing my portfolio of bets today. I lost 2 bets today on sides and totals. One was Las Vegas, and one was Tennessee. Tennessee was one of the first bets I made this week. Never again. Done with that. Tried to even get off some of it, but couldn't do that in a way that was feasible. All right. Next on the board. Oh, okay. Interesting. NFC matchup here. Bucks at the Seahawks. Seahawks a little bit of extra rest. I see the current line, and I'm a little bit upset. Seahawks -2.5, -120 is the line at Fanduel. Total in the game is 44.5. Looks like the market's kind of catching up to Tampa potentially being a fraud and or Seattle actually being good here, because this is definitely a correction on this game, I would say, Clive.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the famous clowns of gambling Twitter is like, watching film versus you just look at box scores. Well, if you look at Baker Mayfield box scores this year, he looks great. Mm-hmm. He's had a lot of turnover-worthy plays that didn't turn into turnovers. Today, maybe a few more, but yep. It's he definitely looked better last year, and the offense hummed a little bit more last year. I mean, no Mike Evans today, obviously, and Godwin's coming back from a pretty rough injury. But all that being said, and offensive line problems. I'm not saying that he's had as good a situation as last year, but this number feels okay to me.
Okay, so I think that this number needs to be 3. And obviously -2.5, -120 is juiced here. I think at 3, you will get some people who have interest in the Bucks. I'm just speaking to my opinion here right now. But first of all, I look at Seattle, Arizona last week. Comes down to the wire, comes down to a kick. That game was a demolition for 3/4 of the game. The Seahawks are infinitely better than the Cardinals. Dominated that game. Tampa today, Little bit unlucky. The defense played well. Ultimately, like I said, the offense couldn't get it going. They were too reliant on some chunk plays. But they're going to play this game without Mike Evans, still without 2 offensive linemen against this Seattle front. They lost Jamel Dean at corner today. Massive loss for that team. They lost Hassan Reddick in the front 7 as well. I don't see how... I think the -2.5, -120 is good. I know this is one of the instances where, so Carl actually just said it, Seattle -1.5 look ahead, where I think look ahead numbers, if you're looking at prices from other weeks in the season, you'd be like, how could you ever get to Seattle at this price? Extra rest, major injury concerns for Tampa Bay on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe I'm drunk, but I'm buying into Seattle right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't take Tampa Bay at this number. I mean, there's threes out there too if you look around, and I still don't necessarily have interest in Tampa at that number either.
Yeah, see, okay, what do we think this market's going to close at? It almost has to close 3, no?
Yeah, I'm thinking through if it's going to be 3 -110 or if it's going to be 3 a different number.
Right. Because right now, just looking at the 3s that are out there, they're shaded towards Tampa, right? Let's just say our market number is like a 2.75.
Yeah.
Right? As it stands right now.
I think this is most likely a full 3.
I think what upsets me the most about this is I really, really wanted the Seahawks this week. I was hoping we'd see the same. Markets are markets. They move. But I would have loved to see a cheaper price on Seattle, maybe when I woke up tomorrow morning.
It does feel like some openers are getting closer to the numbers that I would think they would be at much, much more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think these have been hammered into place before we came onto the air today.
Yeah. D says, realization that Geno's not greater than Darnold happening despite what your favorite podcasters might have said. Yeah, listen, I think at this point, Darnold's fit right in with that offense. Kubiak's really utilizing him. He's been accurate downfield. I was wrong on Seattle going into the year, personally. I just didn't really see it. I thought a lot of Darnold was scheme and coaching in Minnesota, but totally wrong.
I've never been a huge Geno fan, since his time in Seattle. So seeing him kind of struggle a little bit in Las Vegas isn't necessarily surprising me.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to make of Darnold going to Seattle. But I think the league has a lot of average quarterbacks, but average meaning probably power rating less than 0.
Yeah.
And then you have a couple of, 6, 7, 8 guys that are really, it's just a misaligned curve.
Yep.
Basement.
Tyler says these openers are 10 times better than last week. I would agree. We have ups and downs. There's some weeks last year where me and Clive had 7 or 8 plays. There's somewhere there's 1 or 2. This does seem a little bit more challenging. Calvin says it's much easier to get down on openers than it was a few years ago due to exchanges and other things. Stuff gets bet into place faster and faster. Also, I would say that what I've noticed personally at a lot of these books is on Mondays, limits are generally higher or they get higher quicker relative to past years as well. There's a lot more early betting, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Detroit at Cincinnati is our next stop. Cincinnati obviously plays tomorrow, so a lot could happen between now and Tuesday morning when this will officially open up everywhere. Detroit, like I said, I bet some Detroit today. They weren't particularly impressive, but they just did what they needed to do really against Cleveland. That Browns offense leaves a lot to be desired. Current market is Lions -8.5, -115 on the road. Total is 49.5, juiced towards the under. I don't have a strong opinion on this one, Clive.
I kind of don't think this is enough.
For Detroit?
Yeah.
Cincy is the type of team that they should beat the doors off of.
Yeah.
Because they have a big edge on at the line of scrimmage. The cluster cornerback injuries, that would kind of be of concern for me. They lost 2 corners today, did the Lions. I don't think one was serious. I think Terry and Arnold wasn't serious, although he's the worst of the 2 that they lost today. DJ Reed got carted off. So those would be pretty catastrophic, I would say, against this tandem.
I'm looking at Lions team total.
Yeah.
If I can find it. No, I'm not seeing it. I mean, I would assume it would be around 29.
George says that Kirby Joseph got hurt too, as well. So yeah, it's 3 players in the secondary. I would be more inclined to bet the over than I would the Bengals.
Yes.
With Detroit defensive injuries. Like, I would rather click the over in that game because I don't think there's many paths to Bengals generating a lot of stops in this game.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's in Cincy, though. Who knows? You could get some early October weather, some wind, a little bit of rain.
True.
It's a great equalizer for Goff, right?
Yeah.
That's what they told me. Can't throw in the rain because of the small hands.
I love people.
Yep. Keeping it moving here in the late window next week, it is Commanders and Chargers. Chargers -3, -104 at Fanduel. This isn't widely available yet, I should point out as well. Total in the game, 48.5, juiced towards the under. It is expected that Jaden Daniels will return for the Commanders in this game. I expect that Terry McLaurin will miss. Not sure on Noah Brown. Commanders also lost another player on the defensive line today as well, who's been having a good season in Javonte Jean-Baptiste. They're pretty thin on the defensive line. Preston Smith was scratched today. Dietrich Wise is on IR. So those are some things to keep in mind with Washington. But the bigger injury would come on the Chargers side of things with the state of that offensive line and Joe Alt. I just wish I mean, it would be an insta-click under for me in this game if I had any faith in the Commanders front to do anything here.
Yep, that's kind of what I was thinking. And then when I see all the chunk plays Atlanta was kind of getting and moving the ball, it makes it kind of tough.
I still think we might close well on this under at 48.5.
Yeah, I could see this getting a 47 or 47.5. No Joe Alt is significant.
They'll still score on Washington, but it'll just be, they'll have to work a little bit harder. Herbert will have to work.
Well, so I don't know if this is, so if I'm looking at other totals, they've already come down in certain spots.
To 47.5.
Yeah.
The screen is pretty divided right now.
Yeah, at that number that it's at currently, though, it's under or nothing. I have no interest in the over right now.
Yeah, I got to say there's probably also like a very slim chance that you don't see Daniels next week. Who knows? Like, didn't practice a lot this week. Something could happen in practice technically where they keep him out for one more week. I think it's a very, very slim chance. I do think the total's slightly too high when you consider the offensive injuries on both sides of the ball, on both sides of this game.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like we don't have a lot for the nails this week.
Doing my best. Listen, I can't force it. What are you gonna do?
No.
What are you gonna do? Sunday night football next week is AFC battle, AFC East. Buffalo Bills hosting the New England Patriots. Bills -8.5, -110. Totals 49.5. Choose to the over at -115.
I didn't expect to see a Pats over at about or total near 50.
Yeah,
but I was hoping it would be low so that I could bet it. But
I agree.
This feels okay.
It's rather annoying. I also would have liked a number where I could have bet the over in this game. The way that these teams have been priced this year kind of feels a little bit short on Buffalo, but Buffalo is dealing with some pretty significant injuries. Players that didn't play today were Spencer Brown at right tackle Ed Oliver on the defensive line, Matt Milano out again. Whereas New England, trying to think of who's been missing. Just O-line, Jared Wilson, rookie. I can't click Buffalo because of the uncertainty, but I can see myself at some point in the week potentially getting involved with Buffalo here.
Yeah, me too. I the Patriots Panthers game was interesting, but I don't know how much of that carries over to playing the Bills.
I agree. I think that game went I don't even want to say it went as I expected, because I actually don't even think the Patriots played well necessarily. I know that sounds really weird when you look at that game. Yards per play wise, yes, I guess. I'm going to have to dig deeper into that. EPA wise, through the roof. 6 touchdowns. It feels like they just converted really well, if you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Good late down variance.
Special teams avalanche for the Panthers. 87-yard punt return. 61-yard return to the Carolina 14. That was another short field for them. Carolina missed a 55-yard field goal. Another short field for them. In the red zone, they finished all their drives. They had the Drake May keeper touchdown. Henderson from the 5. Gibson from the 1. Mac Hollins.
I might have some interest in the Pats team total over as this week goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But if I do, I think that means I also think that the game as a whole is going to go over.
Right.
So I look through that.
Yeah. Alan Lopez says it feels like they played the Panthers. It sure does. It feels like they played the Panthers.
That's some pretty sharp analysis. I'm not being sarcastic.
I mean, Buffalo's D is certainly concerning for me right now. But I also got to tell you, I'm not sold on the Patriots D at all. I think they can get shredded by good teams.
No, and I kind of want to watch back and see what I didn't see in the Patriots-Panthers game, because I liked my pregame read of the way that the game worked and with the special teams things. I didn't expect the Panthers to play well offensively, but I didn't expect the Pats to play particularly well offensively either. So it's kind of a weird spot.
Mm-hmm.
This next game's good. I'm looking forward to it.
Monday Night Football. Chiefs and Jags in Jacksonville. Opener here at Fanduel is Chiefs -3, -105. Total in the game 44.5, -110. So I really just quickly want to talk to you about the total, because that is by far the best price in market right now. I'm just not sure that I agree with the over in this game.
I'm just looking through the market. Yeah, it is the best price.
Okay, let's start with the Chiefs.
Sure.
They looked back offensively, especially as the game went on. They got a lot more receivers involved, intermediary routes for Kelsey. Felt like they figured some things out today. But when you look at who Baltimore finished the game with on defense, I don't know, right? We're going to have to make some educated guesses here, because, I mean, Madubuike's on IR, Broderick Washington's on IR, Travis Jones didn't play, Kyle Van Noy didn't play, Roquan Smith left, Nate Wiggins left, Marlon Humphrey left, Jair Alexander, I think he's still not in shape, he's not playing. Like, we're talking about potentially 8 players seven at least, who would have started the season as starters for the Ravens, were not on the field to end the game today. So how much stock do you put in that?
So this is like a 24-21 total.
Yes, that's how it's being priced.
Do we Jags and Chiefs both, I think, have defensive lapses, so to speak, right? Like, it sounds like there was probably more meat on the bone for the 49ers today. There was some ham on the bone. And I don't know. I think if you made me choose between 45 and a half and going under, 44 and a half and going over, I think I would take 44 and a half going over.
Yeah, and Jacksonville lost Trayvon Walker today. They lost Eric Murray. That's two key defensive starters for them. I think maybe that's not. I mean, it's often
I
not
don't
a bad
love it,
idea. It's
but
often already not a bad idea to take like the best price in
yeah,
market when there's one that stands out. And
F you, FanDuel. No, I'm kidding.
yeah, it's moving. Well, it's moving. I mean, people are clicking now.
Yeah, there we go. There's your 45 and a half.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Marcus says Jacksonville can't continue turnover margin. They probably. I mean, they had +4 turnovers today, but I don't know. I'm okay with this number. Like I try to when I go through this show, I try not to like look at too many numbers in real time and things of that. I try to do this intuitively.
Same.
And I feel like this is fine.
Yeah,
I'm wondering like if it moved off 3 in either direction, I would kind of just be interested in capturing it if it did.
Yeah, if this was -3, -100, I think I would like it like right now.
Yeah. Intuitively, it felt like Kansas City's win was a lot more real, quote unquote real, than Jacksonville's win today. I as someone who bet the Jags, I was in a lot of discomfort. They capitalized on a lot of mistakes. Good special teams. Again, no Nick Bosa for that game. No bona fide pass rusher on the other side. But I don't know.
There have been like little glimpses and flashes of I think what the Chiefs offense could be here and there. And I think Worthy back is obviously really important. Thornton has been somebody else that gets open deep downfield.
Yeah.
I think I just wish I could see them run the ball a little bit more successfully.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we close it up here, we do have a Dallas and Jets opener now.
Where'd the total open at?
Open 46.5.
Okay.
Dallas -2.5, -110. Total 46.5. Juice towards the over. Let's think about, okay, so Dallas loses Malik Hooker on defense today. They'll still be without CeeDee Lamb, BB and Booker on the offensive line. Jets will be now a second game in all likelihood with Fields. If he's going to struggle, it's more likely in the first game back. I don't know. I don't see a lot of stops in this game. I
was hoping we get like 45 and a half, 46. Not the 46 and a half is terrible, but 46 and a half juice.
Yeah.
I still think this closes north of 47. Unless something crazy happens tomorrow night in the Jets game where they lose, a key offensive piece.
Oh, I did not see this from George. Thanks for chiming in. Tyler Guyton concussion at the end of the game. Yeah, because we were watching I wasn't watching carefully on the overtime.
Oh, I didn't see that either.
I mean, it should matter, obviously. You don't want to be down 3 starting offensive linemen, but the Jets' D has been that bad. That bad. Like, this is ugly defense. All right. I guess not much to do this week. Most of the stuff that we talked through ended up moving. Looks like Cleveland got bet down in real time. A lot of Denver 5.5s moved, including one of the sharper books.
What else moved?
Not a ton. I mean, I still pretty strongly lean towards that Colts Raiders under, I will say. I pretty strongly lean towards that. But I think a lot of this week might be just, this KC Jacksonville over just got hit as well. And that's it.
Yeah, I'll look for the Chargers Commanders this week for a total, but
just curious from the chat, you guys bet anything early? Let me know down in the chat below. Curious what numbers you guys got. in the early going there. Jordan Mosel asks, did you go over Texans Ravens? There's not a line to bet Texans Ravens anywhere. Lamar potentially out, multiple injuries on the Baltimore side of things. Ronnie Stanley as well on the O-line. There's not much that we can possibly do there, unfortunately. So, yeah. Some early Browns bets, Chiefs over. Makes a lot of sense.
Some Saints 2.5s if you guys like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's certain peak prices where I just can't see it. It has to go only in one direction.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's a good bet at over 44.5, I think.
Yeah. Brandon got a good price there. Bucks, Hawks over 44. Adapole, Giants, Saints under 43. Tyler, Dolphins, Chiefs, Jags over. Vikings minus 3.5. Josh, Browns 4.5. Broncos, Raiders under 48. Yeah, pretty decent. Dart MVP. Offensive Rookie of the Year, sure. MVP. Although Igbuka is running away with that at this point.
He is good.
All right. Well, unfortunately, not the best week for early plays in terms of total volume. It is what it is. There will be days like this. But we got tons of content here at the Hammer Betting Network, including tomorrow on the Hammer HQ, noon Eastern time. It's the Hammer Daily. It's our regular Monday routine. Lots of talk about the weekend, previews of Monday Night Football, SGPs, prop looks, all that. Hammer HQ tomorrow at noon. Tuesday, Best Bet Show. We're back to our normal routine this week. G-Stack, Judah, Flup on Tuesday. Myself, Suma, Austin on Thursday. Tons of stuff. We'll keep you covered over the course of the entire week. New injury information that comes in, all that jazz. Thank you very much to our sponsors at Fanduel. Show couldn't work without you. And it's great that they have all these numbers up, including some that other books don't have up as well in the early going here. So it's nice to be able to talk those through. For myself, Rob Pizzola, for Clive Bixby, our producer, Caustic Arrow, this has been another edition of the Sunday Reset. If you enjoyed the show, please smash that like button. And let's get it this week, everyone. Peace out.
Good luck.